Hey, welcome back to another video. I'm Akhil. I'm a real estate agent in the Los Angeles area. My goal is to find the meaning, and my mission of right now is to accomplish your real estate goals in the most efficient and effective way possible. So, I'm a real estate agent. I'm going to document my journey, and these are my videos. So, let's get started. The first most important topic that is for discussion right now is going to be my first escrow and accepted offer. What? Escrow? Accepted offer? What? Exactly. So, if you watched the last video, you know that I was working with a set of very serious buyers, and they were about to make an offer on one of the properties, and it turned out that that property, wasn't right. It just wasn't right for them. It was too big. It was a little bit out of their budget, so they decided not to go for it. But after that happened, we came across another property. Whoa, another property. So when we came across this other property, it was in a very desirable area, at a very desirable price point, the entry-level price point, and it was a very desirable property. It had a view. It was fully renovated. It was a very nice property, beautiful property. So the buyers liked it. We decided to put in an offer. Amazing. So we came in strong, full asking price, put in an offer, and we got totally destroyed by some other person who was an all-cash, no contingency buyer, who removed every contingency, including the inspection contingency. So yeah, obviously the seller accepted that offer, and that was well above asking price. And it was very nice. So after that, some time passed. We kept looking for properties that could work for them. They found another very desirable property in a very desirable area with a nice desirable view that they liked, and we made an offer on the property. Amazing. This time, we were competing against 5 other offers. What? 5 other offers? Yeah, 6 total offers on that property. The market's pretty desirable in certain areas, specifically West Hills, Northridge. As I was saying before, that's why I was trying to door knock in Northridge. West Hills, Northridge, Agoura Hills, these areas are very, very desirable right now. Any renovated property is getting multiple offers. So, we were in competition with multiple different offers, and they best and finaled everyone. So there were 6 different offers. They all put in 6 different people over like the course of 3 to 4 days. Put in, 6 offers, and the seller, the seller's agent too, best and finaled, which means they countered back every single offer. Best and final. So give me your best and final price to every single offer. So after repetitive bugging, tons of bugging the listing agent, I probably called the listing agent like a million times. I try to get as much information as possible. How can we make this offer, get accepted? What are some things that we can do other than price to get it accepted? What can we do? Blah, blah, blah. Just trying everything I can to get this offer accepted. Of course, I use my team lead helped a ton, tremendously. Without her expertise, I wouldn't have been able to do anything, to be honest. I got a ton of expertise from my team lead, and then we came back with a very strong offer. We made a very, very strong offer. We removed one of the contingencies, so it was very, very strong, at a nice, solid price, above asking. And we came in with a strong offer. I was bugging the listing agent like there's no tomorrow. I was showing the buyer's interested. Whatever we can do to get this offer accepted. Blah 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 blah. And eventually, when it was time, they set up a deadline. Like, okay, we're going to respond to offers. When you come back with your counter by X day at 5 p.m. So everyone came in with their offer at that time. And after that same night, they decided on an offer. And you know what? Guess what? It was ours. So that offer was accepted. Well, guess what? That just began the inspection contingency. We had a 10-day inspection contingency. It's not a lot of time, so we got to get started immediately. So once the offer was accepted, which was obviously great, we immediately now we're in contract, right? So now the contingencies automatically begin the second the offer is accepted. So the first contingency, of course, or not the first, but the most important, really, the thing that you should get started on immediately is, of course, the inspection contingency. This means it's like the right for a buyer to investigate the property, which means if there's any material defects in the property, then the buyer, through the inspections, will figure it out. So initially, the general inspection and a couple of the other inspections came back good, but then we got a few other inspection reports back, and there's some major repairs necessary. And of course, you use these repairs and you negotiate the price again. So after tons of back and forth, tons and tons of discussions, it was crazy the amount of paperwork that's involved in these transactions. It's literally insane. So tons of back and forth, tons of learning, tons of experience boosting. I learned a ton. I understood a ton about inspections. I learned a lot about homes, certain things I learned, how to negotiate properly. I also got, a good firsthand experience of how it works, with inspections, how it works dealing with inspectors, how it works to fully understand and, uh, request repairs based off of a inspection report. I learned a ton. Yeah, learned how to write all these learn how to write the repair request, learn how to, there's tons of documents. I can go on and on and on. But the most important thing is I learned a ton, and the entire process is like, very, very nice, and it's actually very long. So from first glance, when you think, well, somebody just bought the property, yeah, the agent just represented the buyer and said, boom, boom, boom. It seems, in passing and speaking, it also seems way easier than, what it actually is. I'm not saying it's like, it's not like some daunting, it's not rocket science or anything, but it's definitely more work than what you would expect. So over this entire, like, I guess my last post was about 3 to 4 weeks ago. Since then to now, almost a month, I haven't been able to door knock as much. I've still been door knocking consistently, but it's not like every time I go out to door knock, sometimes I can't hit 100 doors because I have other things to do. Some other things I had to do, like, paperwork or calling, texting, just discussing with the listing agent, discussing with the buyers, discussing with Jenny, just what to do. And then reading like, the reports, trying to understand, okay, what is the best way we can negotiate with this? Okay, how can we come back to the seller? Okay, the seller responded this, how can we come back and get more out of it, negotiate better? There's actually a lot to it, and it's a lot of headspace too. And there's a lot to learn, especially when it's like your first one. I would say, like, there's a lot of information that I didn't know, I didn't understand, especially contingencies. It's kind of complicated. It's complicated in the sense that it takes like a couple read-throughs of the RPA, which is the Residential Purchase Agreement. It takes a few read-throughs to actually fully understand and understand everything, right? There's kind of a lot in there, and to actually fully understand, okay, well, with the contingencies, it's actually an active removal, not a passive removal in California. So, you have to actually sign it to get rid of it, even though there's a set number of days. That's the ideal goal when we remove contingencies. So it's like, there's some things that you actually have to understand, which, at first I understood none of it. And then going through it, getting expertise from Jenny, she explained to me, okay, this is this, and then I also have to go online, do my own research, understand it. Okay, that's what this means. Okay, this is what this means. Okay, what do I do here on this little document right here? Okay, what do I do for this? What do I do for that? There's a ton of little things that I had to learn, and of course that ate into my time of door knocking, that ate into my time of posting, and on the open house days, I wasn't able to hold as many open houses because when I was touring the buyers, it would normally be on Saturday and Sunday because that's when they're available, of course. Most people are not available during Monday through Friday. They're available during Saturday and Sunday. And it's easier because, I don't have to schedule any showings. All of the houses are on open house. So, we can just go in there together. I can go with the buyers, and we can just go see as many properties as we need to during the open house period. So, just a few different things. But again, the most important, so I spoke about this before, but my priorities first always is customer service. Above lead gen, above lead follow-up, above posting, my first most important thing is customer service. The reason for that is because the only thing that can organically compound over time, 1 tell 2, 2 tell 4, 4 tell 8 is customer service, and customer referrals. For lead gen, if I door knock 250 doors, I get a lead. Great. But I still have to go out and door knock those 250 doors. No matter what I do, it's always a linear relationship. 250 doors equals X leads. It may get better over time because I improve, so maybe instead of 250, it's 200 or 150 or 100, but at the end of the day, I have to do 100 to get 1, or I have to do X amount to get X out of it. If I go do Zillow leads, I have to put X amount of money in, go through X amount of leads, and then I'll get a lead, right? That's how it's going to work. But if it's referrals, it's the only thing that organically compounds in nature, right? 1 tells 2. Once 2 people really like you, then 2 tell 4, and then 4 tell 8, and it just organically compounds. And that's how the big agents, they don't have to do tons of lead gen. They're not knocking 100,000 doors a day. It's just, the customer referrals grow so big. At some point, they have a huge network, and in their giant network of people that they know, somebody's always buying and selling. Tons of people are always looking to transact. Tons of people know friends that are looking to transact. And it's like a giant, like positive, loop of, just a positive loop of leads and business. So yeah, my first priority, always customer service. That that was all to say that my first priority is customer service. Anyway, so after the inspections, so I'll go on back to the story now. After the inspections, we got some good news, some bad news. Obviously, you go back to the seller, you request, you negotiate. They come back, you come back. It's a bunch of negotiations, and then now, as of today, those negotiations are done. The buyer and seller have come to an agreement, and now we are going past that into the next stages of escrow, which will obviously just be just like the loan, and like just things going through. All the disclosures. Oh my God, the amount of disclosures on here is insane. It's like I go through there's like a checklist that Compass provides, and it's just so many things. It's funny. I like it. It's interesting because you don't expect it. Since I'm so used to, I've done like 11 leases, and of the leases, there's already so much paperwork. And then in a transaction, the amount of paperwork is insane. And of course, there's also like, since the other broker also has their paperwork, so they have to send it to you, and you have to go inside and manually and input all of the little boxes that the buyer has to sign in, and whoever is signing, you have to input it manually because it doesn't automatically input it. So it just takes forever. But the entire process just takes forever. But I think it's good. I've learned a lot. I've understood a lot more. And I think it most likely will be my first transaction. But of course, nothing's ever real until the money is in your hands. I learned that from experience. So even my first lease, my MLS lease, I still haven't been paid. Nothing's real until the money's in your hand. Even if the contract is signed, right? Even if the contract is signed, the money has already been deposited, everything is already done. Even if escrow is closed, even if anything is closed, nothing's real till the money's in your hands. And that's the lesson I learned from my first lease, that I still haven't been paid for. So yeah. Anyway, the thing is about the documents, there's a ton of them, yeah, keeping organized is definitely like actually pretty hard. Even if you have like a folder for all this specific transaction, all of the documents go into that folder. The thing is, there's so many different variants, right? It's like okay, pre approval of the offer, post approval of the offer, okay, pre approval of the conditions of the inspection, post approval of the repair request. It's like there's so many different like stages of this, and there's so many different documents for each stage. Like the RPA is like 27 pages. That's just like the residential purchase agreement. That's like the offer basically, and then from there you have all the inspection, the entire inspection report, all of the basically like the back and forth, the negotiations with the letters that both buyer and sellers are sending. And then from there, now you're going to have disclosures, the AVID, which is the agent visual inspection disclosure. And there's a ton of things. You have the preliminary title report. You have all the escrow documents. So yeah, there's a ton of documents that you have to keep track of. That is to say, it's actually pretty interesting. I think a lot of it is pretty interesting. Anyway, the biggest takeaway for me from the entire thing is that my biggest takeaway in the sense, so my areas of improvement that I'm looking back now and I'm like, I think I did a pretty decent job, to be honest. But I think there is areas of improvement, some strong areas of improvement. I think the first one, the most important, is just being more prepared, and being more knowledgeable about what's to come. Since this is my first escrow, I had no idea basically what was going to happen next or what the situation was. I was just basically playing it off of like Jenny's experience. And then when somebody with experience tells you something, and then you have a question about it, you can't ask like 100 different questions, like, because then each question will have an answer, and then you have a question for that answer, and then you have a question for that answer, and at some point it never ends. So she'll tell me something like, okay, it's like I'll say something about, like, a good example is, okay, so what about the contingency expiring? What's going to happen then? And then she says, okay, it's an active contingency removal, not a passive contingency removal. And then I'll have a question about that, and then I have to go Google that, and then I have a question about what I just Googled, and then I have a question about that. And it's just like a never-ending thing and the only way to fully understand it is like to go past it and then see back, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, okay, that's what it actually was. So I think that that's just going to come with time and doing more transactions. I think it's when you just do more transactions, you'll get a better idea of everything that's going on. The second thing is being more patient. I found myself like, because my time scale and the buyer and seller's time scale are totally different. I know that for me, I like things done immediately. The second it's like asked, I get it done. Like that's my whole like philosophy in life. Like if there's something to do, I better get it done immediately. Like my whole entire thing. Okay, there needs a document needs to be signed. Let's get it signed. Let's do it right now. But most people don't operate that way. So when I go through that frame of mind and it's like been 5 hours, like I sent a document out, it's not been signed for 5 hours. What is this? I feel like my need is like, let's text them, let's call them, let's get this done right now. What the heck? What's going on? But in reality, most people, they take some time, they want to review it, they have things to do, or I don't know, they just their priorities are different. So at the end of the day, I think, in my opinion, be more patient, especially with the responses from the other side. Uh, I tend to always be like, "What's it's been a day. Why aren't they responding? What is this? What is this?" Like, as in like in my head, obviously, I'm not saying that out loud, but you know, I feel like I'm a little bit more like impatient because I want things done immediately, and I think I need to, of course, just understand. For me, I want to get things done immediately, but I have to understand, when other people are when I'm allocating, well, when things are being like sent out for other people for their, they have to sign it, they have to review it, they have to reply to it. It's gonna, it's not gonna be done immediately. It's gonna take some time. It may take a day or two in order for it to get back to me, and I have to be more patient about it. That's what a big thing is. And then the third thing is I think I have to be a little bit more neutral and reasonable with the situation. I tend to be pretty optimistic, you know, towards anything, like especially during the inspections and repairs. I tend to be pretty optimistic instead of like there's like a middle ground. I'm not like pessimistic, but I shouldn't be like, too optimistic either. I think there's like I have to be the neutral third party, which I did a pretty good job of, but I think I could improve better. There were times where I'm like, what? Uh, it's gonna be all good. There's no worries at all. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Like that's just like I'm an optimistic person in nature, so I think I just have to be like realistic, relevant, and just totally neutral about it, like any situation. I guess it's hard to explain without an example, but it's hard for me to give a specific example without getting too like then I'll have to tell like another 30-minute story. So basically, being more neutral and reasonable, just in general. Those are the biggest takeaways for me. Now let's go over some things about door knocking. So I've officially stopped door knocking in Northridge, and you may be like, "What? Why? I thought I thought their properties were getting multiple offers over there. Why aren't you keep door knocking over there?" Well, the problem is in Northridge. So if you go to Beverly Grove, right, like right around like San Vicente and like Third Street, that area. Okay, you'll see that those houses they'll basically be like between 6 and 9,000 square foot lot size, right? Those houses, but the lot size is like this. Like if you imagine a 9,000 square foot lot size, it's like this, right? And then they're like right next to each other. Hopefully this is like not a terrible visual, but they're like right next to each other, so it's very easy to door knock. You just go from one property to the next. Doo, 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 doo. In Northridge, they're the same lot size, but they're like this. So each property is like this far apart. So it takes me like maybe double or triple the time to knock the same amount to go from door to door to door, and that just takes up so much time. And even if I'm going fast and running to each door, it still takes like 4 hours to knock all those doors. It takes 3.5 to 4 hours. And also, I noticed that while there's not much competition in Northridge, there's also a ton of people who never move. Like even though there's a ton of sales, there's just a ton of people who just are never going to move ever, and it's just not a very high transacting area. I can just kind of tell by the neighborhood. There's not much development going on. There's all that's going on is flipping, but flipping there's not enough flipping for it to be like it's not there's not that many leads is what I'm saying. Like I can go to 100 if I go to 250 doors here versus 250 doors in Beverly Grove. The Beverly Grove is obviously more worth my time. So I stopped door knocking in Northridge. I went to Studio City, and Studio City is probably I think the most competitive area I've been in terms of door knocking. In terms of like agents, like I door knock, and every 5 doors somebody tells me you're the 10th agent this week, something like that. It's like it's clearly the most competitive area, and I can just tell. I walk around and I see mailers, like the real estate mailers, and I've been there for like a couple weeks in a row, and I just see new companies. Sometimes the mailboxes are open, and I can just see like other companies, like brands, like sending real estate stuff. It's clearly like the most competitive area. It's not bad. There's a lot of development going on in Studio City. I would say even more than compared to Beverly Grove. I think the only thing is just very very competitive, but it's fine. I think I really like the area. It's also easy to door knock like Beverly Grove. So yeah, I think Studio City is pretty decent. I also changed my flyer, so I'll probably like pull it up in the video. But basically, one of the agents in Studio City received my flyer, and they weren't happy that I was using their listing photos in like I put in escrow near you, and one of the photos was just like stuff in escrow. Of course, those are not my listings, but they're just listings of people on market. And so that one of the agents that was representing one of those deals got mad, basically like, "Hey, stop using my photos. Those are my photos." So I just took out photos permanently from the door knocking flyer. But now I think it's actually better. Now there's just more information as a whole in the door knocking flyer. So instead of just 2 sold listings, now you get to see 4. And if you just scan the QR code, you can see all the photos instead of just 1. So I think it's just overall better now, and it's more clean and straight to the point. So I think she actually gave me a chance to improve. So thank you to that agent. Anyway, now I finished pretty much all the reasonable doors in Studio City. There's another, I would have kept knocking in Studio City, but past that like one small area that I was knocking, there's just the neighborhoods are not as good for door knocking. There's no sidewalk, or it's just like all gated. So those areas, there's no point. So yeah, and basically I'm going to Encino. So I haven't door knocked it just yet, but my plan is to go to Encino. From the street view, it looks good. From the amount of solds, it looks good. I'm going to do Encino 2 days a week, probably Beverly Grove 2 days a week or 3 days a week. Again, my door knocking has gone down since it's due to me putting customer service as the priority, due to the transaction basically. And yeah, so that's that. I'll be door knocking. I'm gonna try to increase the second, because like the escrow period, once the contingencies are removed, once the majority of the disclosures are signed, basically we just wait until the final walkthrough and closing. So between like at that point, then I'll have a lot more time freed up. So I can just continue hitting 100 a day. I'll try to hit 5 days a week, 4 days a week if I'm like crazy busy or something. And yeah, that's gonna be great. In terms of open houses, again, I'm trying to maximize my open houses. I held open one on this one lease in Santa Monica. And a side note, Santa Monica lease prices are crazy. It's like literally insane how expensive real estate is in Santa Monica. Santa Monica's, I know before because I used to door knock in Santa Monica, but man, it always boggles my mind how expensive real estate is in Santa Monica, for lease or for sale. It's literally crazy. Same with Brentwood, next to UCLA. Oh my God, it's literally insane. It's literally insane. Like the price per square foot is like comparable to like the flats, basically, flats of Beverly Hills. So like compared to me door knocking in like Northridge, if I holding a lease open, it's like an $18,000 lease for like a what is it, a 5-bedroom, 6-bathroom home. That's 4,000 square foot. That's a lot. It's a lot. Real estate's very, very, very pricey there. Anyway, yeah, I need to do more open houses. I need to maximize them. That lease was pretty decent. It was like a hit or miss. One day I had really good people. The other day I had like one person. I held it 3 times now. And then the third time I had like 3 people. So it's basically kind of like a hit or miss. I'm going to probably go back to doing houses in the valley. Wherever I get, basically. I'm just going to keep trying to maximize as much open houses as possible. All right. Solving my biggest issue. So if you've watched one of the videos, probably the last one or the one before that, I said my biggest issue is sleep. And it has been. So like basically like me not sleeping and waking up on time has been the biggest issue. But in the past like 2 weeks, I basically solved that issue. And the way I solved it is by forcing myself to get up because what I noticed is like if I don't have something to get up for, I don't end up getting up. So now I made my workouts in the morning, and I work out with my dad in the morning, and my dad has to go to work after the workout, so it forces me to wake up early so we can work out. So now I wake up at basically 6 to 6:15 every day, and so far so good. For the last like 2 weeks, I wasn't able to wake up on time like for like 3 or 4 days, and on the weekends, and the 3 or 4 days was because I was sick, and on the weekends I just woke up a little bit later, like 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I think I solved the sleep thing. I think if I just keep it more consistent for the next couple months, I mean, I've been so much more efficient with sleep. So yeah, and I think my sleep issue, if everything all goes well, for the last like 2 weeks, it's almost like maybe 1.5 weeks, it's been solved. I've been waking up on time, going to bed on time, and yeah, haven't been inefficient. So going good. What can I say? All right, on to the next one. So if you've been watching my Instagram and my other channels and stuff, I've been posting more real estate and Compass related content. And my mass emails are now more generic. So what I found out is there's no point in wasting my time trying to make mass emails like too perfect or like too like this, as in like too unique or anything. Just I think the most important thing is getting the information across and keeping in contact. So yeah, my mass emails are basically all template emails at this point. It's very, very generic, very, very simple, very straight to the point, straight from the Compass stuff. It's literally copy paste most of the time from the Compass templates. So that's what I'm probably going to do moving forward. It's easy, it's effective. I think it gets the information across. Even though it's not 100% unique, I can't be unique in every front. I have to be unique on only a certain few. But I think the most important thing is customer service and just making sure that I really, really, making sure that I really care about the customer's needs and put their priorities first. And I don't think the customer particularly cares if the email is generic when I follow up, like when I send out mass emails. Because at the end of the day, I think the mass emails, I don't think it really, like, people are just gonna like look at it for a couple seconds and then move on. They're gonna probably just see it, they're gonna see my face, and they're gonna be like, cool, real estate, Akhil, nice. And it's just gonna register in their brain. And then over time, over months and months and months, over years, when they finally think of real estate or they finally think to do something, then they're like, okay, wait, this guy who kept emailing me, finally, I'm ready to buy and sell. Let's reach out to him. So yeah, I think that's the point. But yeah, I don't think it's very necessary to be too crazy unique on the mass emails. So they're going to generics. The new priority stack. So I talked about this before. It's not really new, but again, the most important priority is customer service, and then lead gen. So I know before I referenced the three, like what I considered the three most important things to this business, which was like lead gen, which is getting the seeds, lead follow up, which is like watering the seeds, and then like the posting, which is like giving it fertilizer so it can grow. Now I realize that the most important thing was not getting the seeds. The most important thing was picking the fruit. So the most important thing is, after the trees have grown, it takes time to pick the fruit. So you gotta allocate a lot of time to that. And by that I mean servicing. Servicing is most important. You gotta make sure everything is well done there. Anyway, I think that's everything for this week. We went over the update of my first escrow, my first accepted offer, and the fact that I learned how to do a ton of different things. Now I can officially, write qualified offers. I can, understand most of the escrow process. I can navigate and help buyers. So yeah, now that I have this experience and confidence that I can do it, it's only upwards from here. I just gotta get more leads. It's the only problem. Just gotta get more leads, more open houses, 100 more, 1,000 more, 1,000,000 more. I need to get those leads. Those leads. All right. I guess that's it for now. So we'll talk next time. Bye-bye.